I lost one. I thought I had it clasped and didn't.
I know the feeling. What's up, everybody? It's Michelle Renee from IamMichelleRenee.com, and we are coming to you on an international tip today. Welcoming my good friend, Miss Monica, all
Hey,
the way
everybody.
from Japan.
Yes, ma'am. In Massawa, Japan, 18 months.
Tell everybody who you are and where you are from.
So I am Monica Odom, mother of four, military spouse, uh, Mississippi State graduate.
Yes, go state.
All right, go state. Hailing from Silver Creek, Mississippi. You blink, you miss it.
Where is Silver Creek exactly?
Okay, so it's between Jackson and Hattiesburg
Okay.
on Highway 84, but now they built a bypass within the last like decade, so you don't even see it. You blow right by it.
Wow. So literally one of those, if you blink, you're gonna miss it. I get the feeling. That's
Right.
kind
The
of like
first
okay.
time we came home after they built the bypass, we passed the town.
Wow.
We passed the town. We got to this little community called Pinnock, and I was like, wait, okay. So we had to turn around.
Oh, that's crazy. And it's such a crazy feeling when you go back home after being away for a while and things are so different. Like it evokes something in you, and it's not necessarily nostalgia because you almost feel like you missed something integral, right?
Right, right. It's like you go home, and especially now that we're getting older, people are starting to be gone.
Yeah.
Not just the things you remember, but the people.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you go, and that's one of the reasons like I go home and I go to church with my mom, because it's like I get to see everybody
Absolutely.
instead of having to drive around the whole community to see my people.
Absolutely. I totally get it. So tell us about your journey as a military spouse because one, I talked to you and we have been consistent for I can pretty much say most of 2020 of touching base with each other almost weekly at this point to where we check
Right.
in and I'm like, okay, what's going on? Either you share something and I'm like, oh, baby, you just hit it on the head. Or I just will miss your presence and be like, you okay over there? You good?
And that's been a big thing about it though, because as a military spouse, it's so different. I graduated from state, and I had these grand aspirations of, okay, I'm going to get this job. We're going to have these 2.5 kids. They're going to go to daycare because I'm working. And God was like, yeah, let me show you something. And
Right.
so my husband decided he wanted to get back in the military. And I was like, okay. So we come back to Mississippi after living in North Carolina for 5 years,
Yeah.
and assume that because we're on the coast, I should be able to get a job
Right.
because accounting background, casinos, the shipyard. And no, no.
Wow.
The first year I was at home, and it was like, what is happening? What is this? It
Right.
was new because I got to be with my baby, Raina. She's about to turn 11.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was new. It was new, and it was cool because I'm at the house. I get to be at the house. And then it was, yeah, but being at the house, you spending money and you ain't
Yep.
bringing in no money,
Yep.
and it only goes so far. So I was like, okay, well, what am I do? Got her in daycare, started substitute teaching because that's one of those military spouse jobs
Yeah.
that'll go anywhere.
Yeah.
That and like nursing is one of those things that they constantly, you can do this, you can do that. Whew, teaching is not my ministry, and that was made known real quick. I
I get it.
mm-mm.
I listen.
First of all, I can't be in the cafeteria with y'all because all them smells is nasty.
Right. Right.
So then I went to junior high. Them kids, they're the sweetest ones because they haven't quite made it to high school. I know everything,
Yeah.
but they aren't so needy as elementary kids.
Yeah.
But they also crazy. And I remember that stage where
Yeah. Where you were, where we were.
where
Like
every week somebody had
I
broke
feel
up
for
with
my middle
somebody and
school
got back
teachers.
together.
Yes. Yes.
And
I
as
feel
an
for them.
adult, you looking like, child, you got your whole life ahead of you.
Like you
Go
shouldn't
get some
even be worried about
snacks.
this right now. It means nothing.
Right.
Oh my gosh. Absolutely. Absolutely.
So after that, a friend of mine gave me some information about working from home.
Mm-hmm.
So I did this work from home gig where I was getting medical records for insurance companies. Like you have to fill out the form and we would call your doctor and get your medical records sent electronically to the insurance company. So that carried us through being in Mississippi.
Got it.
In that time, had another baby. And I got pregnant with her. And I now looking back on it, once again, God was like, you're not living like I want you to live. Because I had started drinking. And I didn't realize how much I was drinking until I found out I was pregnant and I had to stop.
Right. And now you got to deal with your real self.
Right. Like we talked about. It's like, oh, so you gonna sit and listen? Are you gonna sit and listen?
Yep.
Nope, not gonna sit and listen. Why? Because it's people that need me and I got stuff to do. I don't have time to sit down. So Gianna comes along and I'm still working the work from home gig. And then I have a car accident and total my car. We are getting ready to buy a new car. And my husband is told, you going to Korea for a year.
Oh my gosh.
Alone. So I'm like, wait, what? So now I'm 2 babies in, working this job, and he's about to leave.
Yeah.
And that was the first stage of you stronger than you think.
Right.
You know, I was close enough to where I got breaks. My aunt lives 30 minutes. Well, she lived 30 minutes from the base. So I had somebody on Sundays I could go to and be like, y'all go play with TT. And I'm just going to sit over here and not parent for a little while. And so that was a year where I figured out, okay, I can do this. I don't have to lean so hard on him for strength because he ain't here. And one of the big things they try to drill into you as a military spouse is don't make your member feel bad about his job. Don't make your spouse, don't pile on the household stuff because that impacts his mental health for the mission. Well, and you're like, hold on. I'm sitting here, you pseudo single daddy, I'm sorry, pseudo single, no kids.
Yeah.
And I'm not supposed to tell you that your child threw an hour-long fit today because her car seat wasn't right.
Right. Because
Absolutely
it might affect
not.
her mental. And here's the thing. What about what it's doing to my mental? Because now you're a pseudo single parent too.
Right.
And it becomes this hard thing. And I tell people, I'm like, y'all don't understand this walk. Like, you don't get it. That's crazy.
And
that's crazy. And I understand the advise, the what they're trying to advise you, but I need that advice to be twofold,
right.
Like, yeah, I get not wanting to stress him out about what's happening at home, but what's my outlet for that?
And I was so thankful the daycare that the kids went to had a parents' night out. And it was a safe place. My kids knew the people that were going to be watching them. And that allowed me a chance to say, okay, this Saturday, you're going to go and I'm just going to do what I do. So my aunt and I would go to the movies. We would go to dinner at, it's restaurants you don't want to take your kids to. So we would go and eat our oysters and have grown-up conversation. And it was just a moment where I was able to chill out, and do.
Let's just pause there though. Grown-up conversation. Right. And how imperative that is.
Right.
Like,
I don't want to talk about dinosaurs.
People don't understand when you've been talking to kids all day.
We're going to talk about tea parties and dinosaurs all day. And then they wonder why you look so happy cruising through Walmart with your Starbucks or through Target with your Starbucks. Like, I don't want nothing.
Yes, I'm like, I'm all unicorned out. I'm good. Like, I love it, but at the same time, you need a break. And it's like, and I find myself sometimes struggling, especially before. I'm getting better now because I'm being more intentional about my own healthcare and self-care, right? But I found myself before translating and transferring those children conversations to my adult friends and them looking at me like,
talk about is your kids. Especially when they don't have kids, it's different. Like, I have friends who don't have kids, but they're teachers, so they have kids. 30 of them, in some cases. So they get it. But when you don't, you're looking like, is that all you have to talk about? And a lot of times, yeah, because nothing else is going on. you know?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So he came back. He was able to come back in the middle, and not to be TMI, baby number three. So end up my little boy Deacon found out we was pregnant with him when Chris went back to Korea. So now this is we're getting ready to move. And when he left for Korea, he asked me, he said, "Where do you want to go next?" They're asking me where we're going next. And I was like, "We can't go overseas because my little brother is graduating from high school in 16 and we coming back." I was like, "So you tell me
Right.
how much of a plane ticket price are you willing to purchase because I'm not missing my brother's graduation."
Right.
So Alaska, which is about as far away as you're going to get without being in Japan. So I'm pregnant and I don't wear pregnancy well. It's all day nausea. And it ain't just first quarter. I mean, yeah, it's not just the first trimester. It's all day, every day, with some grace in between.
Wow.
Yeah. And in the midst of that, I'm getting the house ready to leave because we got paperwork we got to get done. I'm still working. I still have the other two, you know, and that was tough. That was tough. And it took me a while to stop beating myself up about Deacon being so small because I was like, you weren't taking care of yourself. Everything
Right.
else was more important than the fact that you growing this person and you need to go sit down.
Right.
So we get all that done. I leave. When I tell you I cried from Silver Creek to Vicksburg when I left my mama's house in June of 15, the whole ride I cried. And it's crazy to look now because I mean I've been gone for shoot since 15. Yeah, since 15. So that's 5 years of not being there. But
Right.
I was sick,
Right.
you know?
Right.
But I
I
feel like
remember when you made the move to Alaska because I made the move to Florida. And I was like, watching what you're doing, I was like, where I am feels like the end of the world for my mom, right?
mm-hmm,
But it pales in comparison to being literally at the top, furthest point of the country, and
right.
now all the way around the world.
Right. And it's hard because my family is so close knit. So my sister will post pictures of them, and I'm just like in my feelings because I want to be home for Thanksgiving.
Right.
I want to be home, for the 4th of July, but I can't.
Right.
But at the same time, my kids are experiencing things that I never would have imagined.
Right. Right.
Never.
And it's gonna
Like,
be with them for life.
right. Oh, but they so bougie. Like, why don't this airplane have TVs? What, little boy? You are literally two. I mean, that kind of stuff, you're just like, is this really like their life at this point? But it is.
It is.
You know, as adults, we have friends all around the world because we move.
Yeah.
But my kids have friends all around the world because that's the life they live.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're on their tablets talking to people back in the States. My oldest has a friend that's in, I think they're in the Netherlands. It's, they've got friends everywhere.
Yeah.
And these experiences are so much broader than what we got,
Absolutely.
like leaving my hometown and going to Mississippi State was huge.
Yeah.
It was huge. That's a 3-hour drive.
Right. Right.
So we get to Alaska and I was pregnant with Deacon. Raina was going to kindergarten. So life is constantly changing. It's like we talk about. Just when you think you got a handle on it, we're going to pivot just a little bit. Keep you on your toes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Snow. Never had it, never driven in it. And here I am in Alaska. And my kids go to a charter school that I have to drive to every day, twice a day.
Wow.
Yeah. So I get up there and I make this amazing network at the school. The faculty, the parents. I mean, you see me on Facebook lamenting. Yes, I miss Eagle Academy.
Yeah.
I mean, I just do. That was family. But at the same time, something still doesn't feel right
Right.
because you're living vicariously through these relationships fostered by your kids.
Yeah.
But when you go home and you
You
sit,
have nobody.
yeah, you have nobody. He's at work. He's at work. He's got at least coworkers. They may not be friends, but there's still somebody
Yeah.
that you can sit and say, have you read this book or have you what are your thoughts on this? I can't have an intellectual conversation with my 2-year-old. And at the time, she had sensory stuff going on, and it was like I got this newborn at home, and now Gianna's like, my socks hurt. What? What does that even mean?
Right.
So we're there, and I'm trying to get Raina to school. Gianna is in the floor crying because her socks hurt. I'm like, what is happening? Deacon is crying because he's a baby and he can't talk to me. So I got to try to figure that out. And I'm walking one day and it's sunny outside. I got the baby in the stroller and I'm just bawling.
Mhm.
And I'm sitting there and we're always taught it could be worse.
Yep.
I don't care about it being worse. I'm talking about what it is for me right now.
And you are somebody's worst right now.
Right.
That's what people don't realize. Like for the person, yes, it could definitely be worse, but I'm in my worst in this moment. Respect.
And can it be about me? Can it be about me and not somebody else?
Yeah. Yeah.
And and that's one of the things you and I talk about, the boundary part.
Yeah.
Our boundaries are so loose. I mean, like rubber band. We put them up.
I used to wonder if it was a Mississippi upbringing thing. Is it having been raised like in the country? But the more I talk to moms, the more I talk to women, the more I talk to Black women, the more I talk to women from all cultures, it's a woman thing.
It is. Because at the end of the day, for the most part, we are expected to bend. We are expected to bend. We are expected to say yes. We are not expected to say no. We're expected to censor ourselves and constantly think about how our actions impact someone else when we don't get reciprocated the same thing.
You were
So
spot on.
you sit there and you go, why am I crying? It could be worse. People, there are plenty of women out here wishing that they could just be at home with their kids. And that same year, I met a lady, and she probably is one of the biggest influences in where I am right now. And she said, it's okay to being a stay at home mom ain't your ministry. And it's okay to say that.
Yeah.
And the people that love you aren't going to make you feel bad because you said that.
Right. And it's okay if sometimes you want a break from your children, wait for it, and your family
Right.
and your spouse. Like, it's okay. I had to unlearn, because I'd already learned. I had to unlearn the status quo, the what's the word? These expectations, this fake phony reality of what people want you to pretend to be like in order to prove that you're happily married or that you are in whatever. And that really bothers me because being happily married does not look like what people think it looks like. Being happily married is being able to function and have an argument and get past it within 48 hours, I'm gonna say.
Right. And the thing about it is who wrote the book on that's what it's supposed to look like? Because if you look back at the marriages as an adult, you see the holes.
Oh, you
You
see the
see the
gaps.
inconsistencies. You see
Absolutely.
the fact that what you told me and what you lived don't mirror. These things that I was supposed to want, they didn't look like what you told me they were going to look like when you were living it.
Yes.
But
Yes.
we don't see that until we're in the trenches and
Yeah.
you've made these decisions. And now you've got to figure out, okay, how do I make this work for me?
Yeah.
And that was one of the things. I ended up in therapy, and my therapist was like, you got to figure out how to pull yourself back from these people.
Yeah.
And it sounds real callous to call them these people, but it wasn't just the family, it's everybody. Because anybody that needs you, you say yes.
Yep.
You say yes. Like we talk about,
With no
learning how to say
regard for
no.
how it may affect you.
Yeah, learning how to say no.
Yeah.
In 2020, it's big no. Can you do? No. Can we go? No. Can you pay my nails? No. And then being able to say no is a complete sentence. I don't have to explain myself to you.
Yep.
I don't feel like it.
I don't
And
want
that's
to.
right. And that's a big thing for me, is always trying to make sure that my reasoning is good enough.
Right.
And that's one of the reasons, like I told you about this interview, being this vulnerable, because the comments that come back of, why do you feel that way? Because I do.
Right. And I can't.
And I don't owe you an explanation.
Yes. And I can, because I'm me, and me feeling how I feel does not impact you being you.
Right.
It
And
does
also
not make you a bad
understanding.
person. It does not make you responsible.
No.
It's how I feel. Now, if you want to do something about how I feel, check your position in what happens. Like when you see
Right.
I'm feeling a way and you do nothing to assist it, then you can check yourself. Or if
Right.
you see me unraveling and do nothing to help either prevent it or provide me a safe space to unravel
Yes.
the way I need to, because sometimes you just need to unravel.
Right. You don't need anybody trying to put you back together. It's like, let me fall apart.
Don't
let me sit in this.
Don't
let me sit in it.
Yes.
I'm sitting here and I'm feeling this emotion. Let me feel it.
Absolutely.
And that's one of the big things that I had to learn.
Yes.
My irritation shows up as rage. It's not anger. It's rage.
Yeah.
When I'm tired, when I feel disrespected, when I feel unheard, it comes up as rage, because I don't feel loved. I don't feel protected. I don't feel secure.
Yeah.
And I had to check myself. It's like, why are you allowing this to affect you so deeply?
To ignite you, right? Because you have a natural flame, and your flame can go either way.
I will burn this hole down when I'm mad. Listen.
Yeah.
And I have to take a minute, and I'm just like, why are you so angry? And so that was part of being in therapy. She was like, you're angry because your life is not the way you pictured it, and you don't know how to reverse course. You don't know how to navigate these waters. She said, you're in this water because somebody told you this is good water. This is where you want to be. She said, so you get out there in their water, in your boat.
Yeah.
She's like, now you're trying to figure out, why is my boat leaking?
Yeah.
What is wrong with me?
And even in that, looking at, you're navigating this space that you're afraid to say you don't want to navigate because of what other people are going to think that you mean by that.
Oh,
or
God.
think that you are trying to say. Like when people, like I had to have a very, very, very candid conversation with my husband, because I was like, when you see me unraveling, sometimes I need you not to stop it. I need you to let me unravel, because if I don't finish unraveling, then I'm going to keep getting to this point where I never fully feel, experience, or overcome what's bothering me.
I got to empty the cup. I got to empty the vessel. Because if there's still some residual gunk in here, it's going to come up again.
And we know what happens when gunk starts getting impacted. Like I like to refer to it when we're talking about gunk, and it clogs you. It fills you up to where your pores, your skin ain't right.
Yep.
Your hair ain't right.
Your energy is just off.
Right. Yeah.
Everything you touch, like when I'm aggravated when I'm baking, I can tell. I'm like, this is not gonna taste right. And I tell people from in a minute, like at work, I'm like, look, so I made these cookies.
And I had an attitude, and they not gonna be
whole attitude. So they probably gonna be hard once they cool off.
These were not baked with love. I just want you to know.
Ain't a touch of it.
Listen, but here's the thing. I want people to be okay with saying that. Like I told my husband, I'm like, the food saucy, and I don't even season with salt, like at all. I was like, the food saucy because I was saucy. He'll be like, what? I'm like, it's nasty because I did not cook it with love. He's like,
right.
You didn't cook it with love? Why? I said, because I'm mad.
Yeah.
Mad. We can unpack that later. I just want you to know. That I
I'm
told you
mad,
I
but
can't
y'all
cook when
still
I'm
gonna
mad.
eat. I'm mad, but y'all still eating
Yeah,
because I could have just not cooked.
yes, yes. But then on the contrary, when you're in this place and your love is really shining through, everybody feels it.
Right.
That's why they want so much of you.
And that's where the boundaries come in,
Yeah.
because some people are still trying to figure it out. And that's something I had to do. Like I realized that I was craving attention from people because I couldn't get it on my own.
Yeah.
You want that external validation. You want their flame. You want their warmth because you haven't figured out how to stoke your own fire.